We're back at the Coast High Performance Center for our annual track day, and the brand new Tuono 457 is one of the bikes that we had this year. Now, I missed riding the bike on the street, so I was really keen to hop on and see what it's like, and it ended up being so impressive that we decided to give you a quick separate video on just what this bike is like on the track. Now, this will be a fairly short video because the Tuono 457 is pretty much an RS 457. We've already brought you a review from the street where Dinshaw's told you everything you need to know about how this bike feels out on the street. But to quickly recap, same chassis, same suspension, same brakes, same tires. The tank has been slightly reprofiled and you have that flat handlebar. Now, with that, it's no surprise that this bike handles really well on track. Rajni Krishnan was very impressed with the RS 457 and he loves this one too. But I think what surprised us was that the lap times are pretty much identical. This bike was almost exactly as fast as the RS 457 last year, which is really commendable given that you don't have those clip-ons, you don't have the wind protection, and you don't have the weight over the front end, which gives you more confidence on the racetrack to push. There are a couple of factors to keep in mind about why the Tuono was this quick this year. The first is that the track condition is slightly better than when we came here last year. There were a few dusty surfaces that have more or less gone away this year. So track condition and track knowledge for us riders has improved. But there's also the fact that this Tuono is equipped with the aftermarket quick shifter. It costs about 20,000 rupees, which is still, in my opinion, far too much for a quick shifter, especially on a bike that costs nearly 4 lakh rupees ex-showroom. But it works well and it really adds to the experience. So if I was spending this much money on this bike, I think I would just splurge and get the quick shifter. Okay, so that's the fundamentals, but how does the bike feel? Well, the engine continues to just be the gem on this motorcycle. It's about 48 horsepower. It's more torque than pretty much anything else in the segment, but the sensations you get from it, the feeling, the response from the throttle, that is what makes it special, and especially the sound. It really feels like a big bike. It sounds like a big bike, and this big fuel tank between you just adds to those sensations. So it's a very special feeling motorcycle. And then you look down and see there's 54 world titles written there, and you know it comes from a brand that has a lot of pedigree. So engine is lovely, chassis is really good as well. For me, there were only 2 downsides to the motorcycle today, and I think it's a mostly personal thing. I find that this bike is really quite compact. Now, I said this with the RS 457 as well, but that bike has your arms a little further out and downwards, and there was a little more room with that motorcycle. Out here on the track, I was really cramped against the bump stop of the pillion seat, and it wasn't very comfortable. It was also really very slippery. Small things that you can fix by putting some grip tapes on there. And if you're a very tall person, another issue I found, and I think this will only be an issue on the track, is that this armor on the suit tends to there's not a lot of room out here with the way this tank is curved. But I think I have a solution for that. I came back from the track and opened this up and found that it is completely flat. Now, ideally, you would just take this off and ride, but unfortunately, this panel locks the rider's seat into place. So you're going to have to come up with some sort of solution, maybe buy another one of these and just knock off the extra padding. But I think if you're a tall rider who wants to buy a Tuono 457 for the track, but you're concerned about the space, well, I think there should be a solution that you should be able to find. Beyond that, the Tuono 457 really excelled at this racetrack, and its lap time puts it within quite a bit of distance from any of the competition, whether it's the single-cylinder KTMs or even the twin-cylinder bikes from Yamaha. This bike is a step ahead. Now, the thing to remember about Coast is that this is not much longer than Chennai, but it's a really high-power circuit. It rewards motorcycles that have a powerful engine. That is one of the reasons why this bike does so well over here compared to its competition. Another aspect about Coast is that it's a very flowing circuit. There are very few hard braking zones and almost no zones where you're repeatedly on the brake. So where everyone complains about the front brake fade on this motorcycle, and it is an issue, it's not an issue at Coast. We'll have to see what it's like at other tracks, but I suspect you will want to look into better brake pads, better fluid, maybe a better master cylinder, but one, both, or a combination of all those 3 things should fix that issue. Beyond that, I mean, it's a fantastic motorcycle. It's great fun to ride. I'm sure it'll be really nice out in the street as well, waiting for a chance to ride it out there. But it's been really impressive on the track, and it sort of lives in a class of its own, and I think that's a really nice thing. So if you've been tempted by the idea of the Tuono 457, well, I can tell you that its on-track performance is just another reason to make it even more desirable.